Hello students, we will start with the fourth chapter in science, that is nutrition in living organism. So if we have to define nutrition, nutrition is the process of taking in and using food which takes place in living organism. We all require nutrition. Proper amount of nutrition is very important for our body. We need to consume food to provide nutrition to our body. So children, we consume food. The food is then digested and then from that we get energy. So indirectly we get energy from the food that we consume. Now the food that we consume, it has carbohydrates, protein, fats. All these things are important in our food. So when you consume all the nutrients in proper amount, it is called as a balanced diet. Now, the nutrients that you consume are of two types, macronutrients and the micronutrients. Macronutrients are the nutrients that you need in more amount. For example, you need carbohydrate, proteins and fats in more amount. So, those becomes the macronutrients. Then, micronutrients are the nutrients that we require in very less quantity or in very less amount. For example, like minerals and vitamins. These are called as the micronutrients. Now the nutrition that we consume so that we can get energy to do our work, our growth and development takes place, our tissue damage can be repaired, and we can fight diseases. Now the nutrition takes place in two parts, autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition, it happens in plants because they can produce their own food, and heterotrophic nutrition happens in animal as they cannot produce their own food. So let us learn about the nutrition in plants first. Nutrition in plants. Now plants in the presence of sunlight produce their food with the help of photosynthesis. Now what happens in plant is that in presence of sunlight with the help of chlorophyll. Now chlorophyll is present in the leaves which helps to prepare the food. So the plants take the help of chlorophyll, also the carbon dioxide and water, and it prepares the food for the plant. This process is called as photosynthesis. You all must have learned about photosynthesis in your earlier class. So what happens in photosynthesis is that carbon dioxide combines with water, and in presence of sunlight with the help of chlorophyll, it produces food in the form of glucose. The formula for glucose is C6H12O6, and along with food it also produces oxygen that it gives in the air, and that oxygen is then inhaled by us. That is why we say that carbon dioxide, plant take up the carbon dioxide and it gives out oxygen. So it is because of this only. In the preparation of food, the plant also produces oxygen. Next is the transport system in plants. Now, as in our body, we have different veins and different arteries for the transfer of blood from one part of the body to the other part. Same way in plants also, there are different sections which are present for the transport. Now, the transport of food and water is necessary. The plants absorb minerals from the soil and it provides to the different part of the plant. So there must be some type of system in plants also that is called as the transport system in plants. Now the transport system of plants consists of xylem and phloem. The xylem transports mineral and water from the root to the upper parts of the plant. So xylem will take up the minerals and water from the roots, that is from the soil. It will absorb into the roots, and from the roots what xylem does is xylem takes up to the different part of the plant. Next is the phloem. The phloem transports the food from leaves to the other part of the plant. Now we learned that the food is prepared in the leaves of the plant because chlorophyll or the chloroplast is present in the leaves only. So from the leaves, the food has to be transported to different parts of the plant as well. So it is done by the phloem. It transfers the food to the different part of the plant. So xylem, what it does is it carries water from lower part to the upper part. That is from down to up. It is going from lower to the upper region and is carrying water and mineral. And what does phloem does is it carries food to a different part of the plant from the leaf. Another part is nitrogen fixation. Now some microorganisms fix the atmospheric nitrogen for the plant, and they are present in the form of nodules in plant, one of which is rhizobium. You will find that in leguminous plant, in the roots, there are small round nodules which are there. Inside the nodules, the rhizobium microorganism is present. Rhizobium microorganisms are useful because plant cannot take gaseous nitrogen from the air. These microorganisms absorb the atmospheric nitrogen and they convert the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate, and that nitrate is useful for the plant. So indirectly it survives in the nodules of the plant, that is in the root nodules, and it provides the extra amount of nitrogen or the nitrate that the plant wants. This is called as nitrogen fixation, as the microorganism is fixing the nitrogen for the plant. So it is called as nitrogen fixation. And the organism that do the example is rhizobium. Another type of nutrition that takes place in plant is symbiotic nutrition. Now, in some plants, when two or more than two different types of plant, they live together and they will fulfill their needs of nutrition. They will protect each other and they will support each other. It's like when you are in a class, one is good with English, one is good with Hindi, one is good with Marathi. So each one of you will help each other in all the subjects. Same way, in plants also, two or three different types of plant, they survive together and they help each other. This is called as symbiotic relationship. That is, helping each other and fulfilling their nutrition. So, example of symbiotic nutrition is lichen. Lichen is an example of symbiosis between algae and fungi. In this, the fungi provides water, minerals, as well as shelter to algae. And in return, the algae provides food to the fungi. So, both are getting benefit from each other. One is getting water and mineral and the other one is getting food. So, this is called as the symbiotic nutrition. Next are the heterotrophic plants. Now some plants cannot prepare their own food, so they are called as heterotrophic plants. These plants do not have chlorophyll in them. The plants that grow on the body of other plants and they obtain the food from that plant. They are like parasite, so they are called as the parasitic plant. Example is Loranthus or Cuscata. So Cuscata is a non-green yellow thread-like plant completely dependent on the host plant, and Loranthus is a parasitic plant because it can prepare its own food, but it has to take water and minerals from the host plant. So Loranthus is not directly dependent on the host plant, but it is dependent for only water and mineral. But Cuscata is dependent for the food, water and mineral from its plant. These are called as the parasitic plant as they survive on the other plant. There are also insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants grow in soil or water. They are deficient in nitrogen compounds. So that is why they fulfill their nitrogen compounds by feeding on the insects. That is why they are called as the insectivorous plant. For example, Drosera, Venus flytrap, etc. Now if you will see this plant, their body has flower-like appearance. It grows close to the ground. Even its leaves are attractively pink or red in color. What they have is they have droplets of sticky substance around their tips and also inside them. These plants consume insects and they will fulfill their need of nitrogen. The insects attract the colorful plant and the insects come on that plant. And when the insects come to the plant, the sticky substance in the plant, it attracts the insect. It does not allow the insect to go anywhere. And the insect gets trapped. And the plant feeds on the insect. Next are the saprotrophic plants. Now saprotrophic plants, they obtain the food from the dead and decaying body of other organisms, and that is why they are called as saprotrophic, because they get their nutrients from dead and decaying organisms. For example, mushroom and yeast. So children, these were the nutrition in plant. We studied about different nutrition in plant, and we also studied about different types of plant like heterotrophic plant, insectivorous plants, saprotrophic plants and so on. All the different plants have their different mode of nutrition.